One thing that sets Ballet Mag apart from other companies, aside from being a Christian company, is that we tour. Most companies tend to stay in the city that they're based in, but we travel all over the world, and there's literally no place that we won't perform. Like, there is no stage too small that we will not try to dance on. We will dance just about anywhere.
We really love going on tour as a company. It's a really special time for us, especially since we spend a lot of time preparing for our ballets in the studio, working, rehearsing, and so we're really excited when all of our hard work finally pays off and we're able to go actually interact with audiences, perform, share the gospel, and actually execute what our mission is.
We are our own setup crew. Every dancer comes in as a ballet dancer, but by the time they leave, they are way more than a dancer. They are part lighting designer, part costume seamstress, part sound engineer. Like, we tend to learn a lot of just different aspects that come with being involved in a performing art.
This distinctive toolkit allows for equally unique tour days for the company. Each dancer is not only responsible for their roles on stage, but are an integral part of the entire process.
A typical performance day usually starts out either in a hotel or a host home, depending on the tour. We usually have a little bit of a later start, usually 10:30, 11, somewhere around there. So we'll have breakfast with our hosts or at the hotel, and then we'll show up to either a church or theater, depending on where we're performing. And we start the setup process. So we pull 2 trailers with all of our equipment that we need for touring and performing in them. And so once we arrive at the theater, we will unload all of the equipment into whatever space we're performing in, and then we'll start setting it up.
As you can see, the setup has begun. The first thing that kind of happens after we unload all the equipment out of our trailers is the floor gets laid, and then after that we'll have some lights that go up, some lighting poles. We cable the lights and make sure they're all running back to the lighting board, which gets run by our tour director, Rachel, during the show. She kind of makes sure all the technical things happen for us while we're dancing. But each of the dancers has an assigned setup job that they are given at the beginning of the touring season. They kind of learn how to do it. It could be laying floor, which some people are doing now, or it could be cabling lights, hanging lights. We have some girls who are steaming costumes right now, making sure we have all of our accessories ready so that we are good to go tomorrow. Also, props are being set up. There's a lot of moving parts happening right now, but so we're just gonna try to get everything set up so it's ready for the curtain opening tomorrow.
So after we do all the technical stuff and get the stage ready for performing, we will have lunch and then get ready, get dressed, do our hair, makeup, and then take a warm-up class and mark through our ballets just to make sure we know where we're going, since every space we dance in is just a little different. So we'll do a little bit of rehearsal, and then we have our show, which is the part that the audience sees, but we have been at the theater all day setting up, getting ready for it. So then after that, we'll tear it all down and load it into the trailers and get ready to go on to the next stop.
With such a wide collection of touring experiences, it may seem hard to pick a favorite, yet particular places have charmed even seasoned company members.
I really like touring and traveling. It's super fun to travel the States and perform in churches, theaters, schools, wherever, but my favorite time is when we have traveled overseas to Europe and also South Africa. And specifically within Europe, just the Eastern European countries, I've really enjoyed traveling to, just learning about their culture, and yeah, there's just a different feeling when we perform there.
My favorite place to tour is Israel. I've been there 3 times and I love it every time and I want to go back.
Okay, one of my favorite tour stories is when we were in South Korea. We were able to go in this little shop, and we got to pick out all of these dresses. They were traditional Korean dresses, and hats and fun little things, and gloves and purses. And we got to wear them, and we got to tour all around wearing these traditional dresses, and I think that was so fun. But also, one of my favorite tour stories is we went to Israel and our luggage got lost. And so like none of our costumes were there, and some people's like shoes weren't there. Keith and Kathy came with us, and Kathy had her point shoes with her in her carry-on, but she wasn't dancing. And so I think somebody might have worn them, I'm not for sure, but Kathy and I think Kim Helsel had to go around Israel and try to find costumes for all of us to wear. And it was really funny.
We were in Haarlem in the Netherlands, and we were doing the story of the hiding place. And it was my first semester doing Corrie ten Boom, so it was a very new part for me, and I was very nervous. And after the show, this couple came up to me, and he just said, I just want to thank you so much for telling this story, because if it was not for Corrie ten Boom, I wouldn't be here today. And I was like, oh really? Tell me more about this. And he said, my great-grandfather was in the hiding place, and if it wasn't for her, I wouldn't be here. And that was just really, really powerful to me. And I tried to get more information from him, but he walked away so quickly. But I think that's probably my favorite powerful tour story.
In Berlin, Germany, and we had a super early call. We were catching a flight from Berlin to Milan, and I woke up with a severe pain in my eye. I don't know what happened, and I really couldn't see. It was just extraordinary pain. And I put on the sunglasses. It was like 3 o'clock in the morning, pitch black, but I couldn't handle any kind of traffic light or my eyes were just, my left eye was just freaking out. And so we went to the airport. Meanwhile, while we were waiting in the gate, I called my mom and I said, this is what's happening in my eye. She did eye surgeries all her career. So she said, well, once you get to, where are you going to? I said, we are going to Milano. She said, once you land in Italy, why don't you go to a doctor and see what they can do? And so surely enough, we landed in Milan, and I went to an emergency room, and they said that I have torn my cornea. I don't know how exactly that happened, because we performed the day before, and I don't know I don't know. They said, you have minimum of 20 days. They bandaged my eyes. They said minimum 20 days before that I will be able to handle any kind of light. And I said, well, we have a performance tomorrow night, and I am the lead character. We're doing protocol the next day. And the doctor just looked at me, he says, this is just not gonna happen. And I said, well, okay, well, I'll pray. And so I went to my hotel room and I shut the curtains and I lied there, and I called my wife actually, and I said, Cassandra, this is what's happening. And she said, you'll dance tomorrow. I said, okay. And I prayed and I asked the Lord to heal my eye. And I mean, I have a document telling me what the issue was. I have a document telling me that this is approximately 20 days that it's gonna take before it starts to heal. And long story short, I was able to dance the very next day. My eyes was supernaturally healed in less than 24 hours. Not only was I able to function normally, I was able to be under the stage lights and perform without any difficulty whatsoever. All the swelling, the redness, everything in my eye was completely gone. And so it's just, God is a Jehovah Rapha that is right on time. His healing comes when it's needed. And that was just a personal, for me, it was, again, a faith-building moment to see how God can do something so supernaturally out of the ordinary and out of the expected. And that really kind of boosted my faith in the Lord in a very personal way.